In fall of 2021, I was having this brain fogginess, which would happen occasionally. I would lose the ability to know names of my family members. I had an MRI, and that afternoon I get a call from the doctor's office, and he said, "We found the source of your problem. You have a brain tumor." I'm Scott Kiefer. I am married to Claire. We have 3 kids, 20-year-old Elliot, 18-year-old Whitney, 15-year-old Emmett. I am an estate planning attorney. I'm in a business where I help people prepare for the worst, and it's always someone else. And then whenever it's you just don't expect that. And just the thought that I may be staring at the end just a few weeks from now was crushing. So as soon as my doctor told me I had a brain tumor, he followed it up with, "It is in a challenging location and there's a lot of complexities." And he said, "You need to go to WashU Medicine."
Whenever a patient is seeing me, very often they're getting the benefit of not just me, but really the entire group that's taking care of brain tumors. It's all the neurosurgeons, all the radiation oncologists, all the medical oncologists, all the neuroradiologists who have expertise in brain tumors to really kind of weigh in on what they think is the optimal path forward. Because Scott had somewhat of an unusual appearing lesion, we reviewed his case at our tumor board. The consensus opinion is that he would benefit by a laser ablation. It's millimeters of an incision, millimeters of a hole in the skull, and then minimal penetration through the brain. That is a radically different departure from kind of how we have done it classically. And the results, bear themselves out. Patients do better.
So the day of surgery comes along and you try to keep it normal, but you're leaving and walking out of the house and not knowing if you're ever gonna walk back in the house.
When we were coming over the crest of the hill in our neighborhood, the streets were lined with all of our friends, and I felt like it picked us up and carried us all the way to WashU for the surgery. As they were wheeling him out, he was talking to the nurses and the techs. They said, "Is there anything else we can do, as you're going?" And he said, "Yeah, can you sing me to sleep?" So when I got the first call, the first update, in surgery, they said we sang him to sleep. So that was a fun way to send him off, and he was light and happy, and they followed through and they sang him to sleep.
I remember waking up from the surgery, and in the first thought that goes through my mind, because when you're coming out of anesthesia, nothing's clear, right? And I just remember the thought, I'm alive. And then I started naming off their names. And I'm sure I couldn't talk, but I think my brain was like, Claire, Elliot, Whitney, and Emmett. And then I started moving.
I think everybody was just shocked that he was basically skipping out of the hospital and walking into our house just 24 hours later. There's 5 people just in this house that are so grateful for what he's been through and knowing that he was in great hands from start to finish.
WashU has a real commitment to the highest level of excellence. And really when we demand excellence, that means really kind of, reaching forward to kind of doing the science, doing the clinical trials, and identifying the advanced solutions so that we are at the highest level of excellence.
A few weeks ago, I was driving to work and I started thinking, I wonder who the most important people I've ever met in my life who are not my family. I took out a blank piece of paper and I started writing the 5 people who have impacted my life the most. And the third one is Dr. Luthart. There is not a day that goes by when I do not appreciate still being around. You look around our house, and our house is it's full of pictures which were taken after the surgery, and that's intentional. It's intentional because I like being reminded of things I have which would not be happening if not for WashU Medicine, if not for Dr. Luthart. I got the greatest life ever.